What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and major news coming out overnight from President Joe Biden. Two big announcements calling for more funding for stimulus. And this is your stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, take a look at some of these headlines. President Biden pressures Congress for emergency pandemic funds, saying, we need more funding, we need more stimulus. Biden receives his second pandemic booster as he pleads with Congress for funding, saying, listen, it's very likely we're going to be seeing another wave hit the United States here very soon, and we're going to need more stimulus funds to battle it, to prepare, and if we don't, we could take a step back in our battle against the pandemic. Biden gets his second booster shot and urges Congress to spend more on the pandemic. We can't wait, as he's saying now is the time for action. I reported this to you that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had mentioned this as well. And a lot of people are saying, hey, what about direct payments and assistance for people in the form of stimulus checks? Now, we've heard that Congress has released 4 different bills proposing more stimulus checks, some of which are on monthly reoccurring basis for increased gas prices. And the White House right now has those and are taking them into consideration, trying to figure out how they can get those prices down. We're dealing with inflation, another potential wave of the pandemic. And take a look, you guys, just last night, Biden considering releasing 1 million barrels of oil per day from strategic reserves, trying to help out with those high gas prices. Biden administration may release 1 million barrels of oil per day from the U.S. reserves, according to reports. And we're hearing, though, that Biden's oil reserve plan only covers about 1/3 of Russia's shortfall, so not quite enough. And a lot of people are saying, hey, cut out those federal gas taxes and send out some gas stimulus checks. So you guys, I've got video footage for you so you can hear what Biden had to say. I'm going to be reading the details of these reports so you can hear the latest on these new announcements. But before we dive right in, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash that like button for me. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Just takes a second. I appreciate it. If you like the content, helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments. Share this out if you think it's going to help out other people with updates. And if you like to stay up to date, totally free, come join the Ram fam. I'll keep you up to date on everything going on. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I share all my sources, read all the articles directly, give you the facts, leave my opinions out so you can get the latest news. And if you got any specific questions for me, I'm easy to get a hold of directly. Hop onto Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. Oh, and consider joining my second channel. More content coming in the month of April on the Steve Ram Finance channel. And if you're interested in learning about growing wealth, personal finance, investing in real estate, stocks, crypto, starting businesses, consider joining that channel as well. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in, and let's start off with the video footage of what Biden had to say last night.
Because of the strategy we executed over the past year on vaccinations, testing, treatments, and more, we're now in a new moment in this pandemic. Does not mean that COVID-19 is over. It means that COVID-19 no longer controls our lives. That's what it means. Cases are ticking up, as we thought they might. But now, thanks to the foundation we've laid, America has the tools to protect people, all people. Congress, we need to secure additional supply now. Now. We can't wait until we find ourselves in the midst of another surge to act. It'll be too late. And we also need this funding to continue our efforts to vaccinate the world with commitments we made. It's critical to our ability to protect against new variants. There's no wall you can build high enough to keep out a virus. Congress needs to act now, please. Let me close with this. I've worked so hard to get our lives, all of us have worked so hard to get our lives back. We're summoning every ounce of American resilience, pulled every lever of our government, called upon the goodness, decency, and patriotism of American people. And together we turned an unthinkable pain into an extraordinary progress and purpose. Americans are back to living their lives again. We can't surrender that now. Congress, please act. You have to act immediately. The consequences of inaction are severe. They'll only grow with time, but it doesn't have to be that way. We've proven what we can do when we work together. So I urge Democrats and Republicans to get this done with urgency. Let's stand united. Let's continue to pull together. Let's get this done.
So there you have it, you guys. That was President Joe Biden saying that we have laid the foundation so that way this is no longer controlling our lives. However, he said cases are ticking up, and it seems like we're going to be seeing a new wave here very soon, which is why they're calling for additional funding. A link in the description below to this article that says Biden gets his second booster shot and urges Congress to spend more on the pandemic. We cannot wait. And the article says that President Joe Biden on yesterday, urged lawmakers to secure more funding for his administration's pandemic response and warned of severe consequences for the nation if Congress doesn't authorize more money. And we heard the same thing from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Now, this would be to help combat the pandemic, but we've also heard calls for new phases for direct payments, for helping out businesses, and we'll see, because typically once one phase goes out, more phases have followed. This isn't partisan, it's medicine, Biden said in a speech in the White House while urging Congress to act immediately. The president said that without the new funding, the U.S. will not be able to sustain its current testing capacity beyond June, and that by the fall, it would not have enough vaccine supply to provide booster shots to all who are eligible. And around fall, winter time is the flu season, so that is going to be a major concern. If we haven't gotten past this by then, we could see another ramp up of a new wave of this new variant. Even worse, if we need a different vaccine for the future to combat a new variant, so a mutated version, we're not going to be able to have enough money to purchase it. We cannot allow that to happen. And as you know, we had the original Alpha variant, then we had Delta, Omicron, and now we have the subvariant of Omicron BA.2. And they're saying, what if more comes up and it's resistant to vaccines? We're going to need more funding, more spending to help combat it. And Biden said that the U.S. is already seeing the effects of dwindling funds right now, including the administration having to scale back purchases of pandemic treatments and preventative therapies for immune-compromised individuals. So we're going to be susceptible to a lot of issues here. They're saying if we don't provide more funding, more spending soon. So that was yesterday. President Joe Biden in response to everything that's unfolding with the pandemic. But in addition to that, we're also currently dealing with high gas prices. And this is being emphasized as we have the war with Russia and Ukraine taking place. We also have inflation at a 40-year high. And people are saying it's time for gas stimulus checks. As I mentioned, Congress has been releasing bills on this. They've been requesting to get rid of the federal gas tax. And yesterday, we heard the president is going to be doing something to try to help out, because we're hearing these prices aren't going to be coming down anytime soon. Take a look. Biden considering releasing 1 million barrels of oil per day from strategic reserves. A link in the description below to this article that gives some details. President Biden is weighing releasing a record amount of oil from U.S. reserves as high gas prices persist. A plan being considered involves releasing around 1 million barrels of oil per day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserves for the coming months. A person familiar with deliberations has said the announcement could come as soon as today, Thursday, when Biden is scheduled to deliver remarks from the White House on high gas prices. So he's going to be talking about this here very soon, an announcement coming. Biden earlier in the month announced a coordinated release of oil from reserves in conjunction with other nations, and he also released around 60 million barrels in November, which he said at the time was the largest release from reserves in U.S. history. Now, the article says tapping the reserve, which is a stockpile of 600 million barrels of crude oil stored underground in salt caverns in Louisiana and Texas, generally has only a limited effect on the gas prices because of how much oil can be released at a time, but would act as a political sign that Biden is continuing to confront the problem. So they're saying this might not bring gas prices down, but it's taking a political stance that he's trying to help. Now, if they want to decrease those prices, as we mentioned, getting rid of the federal gas tax or providing gas stimulus checks. Now, we will see. He's going to be making this announcement today, and I'll be sure to let you know what they have to say and see if there's going to be some additional efforts made to help combat increased gas prices. So you guys, that is the latest. A lot going on, and we're also hearing that talks are continuing with Build Back Better. They're calling for more phases of stimulus checks for gas, and I will keep you up to date. A lot going on. I'll make sure that as the news rolls out, I report it to you so you get the latest here on the channel. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button if you appreciate the updates. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments. comments, share this out. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, totally free, come join the Ram fam. Hit the subscribe button and get notifications right away as news breaks by turning on that notification bell. If you got specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, and consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. More content coming on that channel in the month of April, which is tomorrow. Wow, it's flying by. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.